Michelle's got it. Good morning.
Good morning.
I believe everybody's coming in. Good morning and welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Hobart, where we strive to put love at the center of how we show up in the world. I am Jesse Wilson, your worship associate this morning. Welcome to you, old friends, new and young. You are an essential part of our celebration today. Whether today is your first or 1000th Sunday in our midst, we are stronger because you are with us. We are one people of many beliefs, many origins, sexualities, and genders. We are all growing, all learning, all loved. Just as you are welcomed here. Today, our worship service will be led by our minister, Reverend Cathy Harrington. Since not everyone can attend in person, we are streaming this worship service online, and we extend a special welcome to those of you who are joining us virtually. Another way that we walk together is by joining together in fun and fellowship. In the interest of time, if you have any announcements you would like to share, please send them an email to Ashley to the office by Wednesday. Look for our weekly Spark for more announcements. And if you don't receive the Spark, please fill out a form in the visitor center. Michelle, our board president, would like to make a few announcements.
Hello, everyone. Our congregation has some big ministry and financial decisions coming up, and the Growth and Sustainability Task Force, or GAS for short, wants your voice to be heard. Please sign up for one of these important conversations. There'll be a session today after coffee hour. Sorry. And I think Noelle is the only person that signed up. So if you signed up for another day, you want to stay, that's cool. If you don't have power, you want to stay, charge your phone, get some gas conversation in while you're at it. Feel free to stay. That'll be immediately after coffee hour today, along with next Sunday after coffee hour. There will also be a session this Saturday from 10:30 to 12:30. We'll have brunch. Or Thursday the 27th at 6 p.m. and we'll have pizza. Childcare can also be worked out. If you need childcare, please let me know and we will work that out. Sign-ups are in the parish hall, or you can see me or Doug if you have any questions. Next Sunday at 4:30, our church is hosting a screening of the documentary No Country for Mothers, which is a documentary about motherhood really looks like in America today. Doors will open at 4 for snacks and socializing. The film will start at 4:30 with discussion afterward. We can also have childcare for that. Please let me know if you'd like to attend and would like childcare. There's flyers for the documentary with the QR code. You can sign up in the parish hall. This is an opportunity for mothers to gather and talk about issues that may be considered taboo and to find support. The Bocce Ball fundraiser is coming up. It's hard to believe it's that time already. The 4th annual Farrell Family Bocce Ball fundraiser. That is going to be Saturday, September 12th at 1 p.m. until the tournament's over. The rain date is September 13th. That would be the Sunday after church. So it's double elimination, $25 per person for dinner and $25 to play bocce. Drinks and dinner are included. Feel free to come and just eat. If you don't want to play, you can just do dinner. Dinner will be farmers market themed this year. There's a sign-up sheet in the parish hall, or you can talk to me. If you don't have a partner for the bocce ball tournament, let me know and we'll find you a partner. The winning team receives bragging rights and splits half of the bocce ball money. You can pay Ashley, or you can pay online with bocce in the comments, or you can bring your money that day. That is at our Farrell House in Crown Point, so let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. 1 p.m.
Until it's finished? Please take a moment and greet your neighbors. And I mean really greet them. Say hello to somebody you don't know. Please turn off your cell or silence your devices. As you do so, allow yourself to enter sacred space. Take a deep breath. And another. And join us in the spirit of reverence.
Good morning. Good morning. It's good to be together again. Thank you. It's good to be here. So each week during our Sunday morning worship service, we join in reciting the words of our affirmation of faith found in your order of service or on the screen. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament. Service is its prayer. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
The flaming chalice is the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. It suggests the transformation that takes place when we are held within religious community. When we light the chalice in worship, we illuminate the world that we feel called upon to share with love and a sense of justice. Please join us in lighting our chalice by reading together the words on the screen or in your order of service. We gather this hour as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. Light this beacon of hope, silence our trust for truth and meaning, celebration of life we share together. Please join me in reading our doxology from either the screen or your order of service. From all below the skies. I messed it up. That was my fault. We gotta have a good laugh today. From all that dwells below the skies, let songs of hope and faith arise. Let peace, goodwill on earth be sung, through every tongue, by every song. Amen.
words this morning are by the Reverend Gretchen Haley. Come in, all who long to know how to love this world, how to keep eyes open, hands unclenched, arms wide, breathing deeply in and out. This is a time to practice because there is still so much good in the world, good and beauty and joy. But it can be hard to keep telling this tale with all the news and the wind and the rain and the fires and the trembling earth. Who wants to love this life anyway? So come in, all who teeter on this edge of cynicism, brokenhearted and trying still to remember laughter and kindness and the chance to be alive in these days when so much is at stake. In this place, we remind each other why we persist, giving each other courage to take this path that isn't always easy, to keep practicing this love that cannot and will not let us go. And it still calls us on. Come, let us worship together. Please rise in body or spirit and sing Gather the Spirit, 347. It's time for the story for all ages, and I'm going to use my computer because I can't find my book. This is called Butterflies Under My Hat. Our hats. Sandy Eisenberg Sasso is an Indianapolis author. And she's written some beautiful books. I love, thank goodness we have power so you can see these pictures.
Did not get the book into the slideshow.
Boo-hoo. So that's what we've got, all right. Anybody else? There once was a town called Chelm where there was no luck. If something could go wrong, it did. The roofs of the houses always leaked. The sidewalks were always cracked. The gardens grew only weeds. Nothing was ever right. Some people said luck comes and goes, but in Chelm's case, it never came, it only went. Others said, there's no such thing as luck. The people of Chelm were certain, though, that luck was real. They looked everywhere. They looked in beds and in basements, in pant pockets, in pickle barrels, in water wells and wicker baskets. But as luck would have it, they never found any. We'll never have any luck, they sighed, and they gave up. They stopped building houses, delayed repairing their sidewalks, and quit planting gardens. Then one day, a strange and beautiful woman came into town. No one had ever seen her before. She wore a large purple felt hat with over her red hair and a long green dress that matched her eyes. She told the people of Chelm that there was something better than luck. Better than luck? The people weren't sure they believed her, but they listened anyway. Having lost their luck, what did they have to lose? Tomorrow at daybreak, said the strange woman with the purple hat and green eyes, butterflies of hope are going to fly into the town square. If you can manage to cover the butterflies with your hats, you will have hope, and hope is better than luck. Some of the townspeople thought that the woman was crazy. Nothing was better than luck, but others weren't so sure. So the next morning when the sun began to rise, the people of Chelm, who couldn't find any luck, went into the town square to look for hope. And just as the red-haired, green-eyed woman had said, clouds of colorful butterflies appeared, and they landed on the ground. For a few moments, they just sat there, their wings fluttering softly. The people were very quiet. They gently placed their hats over the butterflies. It's kind of hard to see the hats, but they're just so beautiful. Yeah, they were silk top hats, woolen caps, black berets, and bonnets with bows. There were felt fedoras and high hats with pink polka dots. There you go. There were fancy fur hats and silly straw hats with feathers all covering the town square. We have it, they exclaimed. Now we have hope. But just as they began to say those words, it started to rain. A drizzle became a downpour. We know about those, don't we? And suddenly the people needed their hats. And one by one, they took their silk top hats and their woolen caps and their black berets and bonnets with bows and fedoras and high hats and fancy fur hats and put them back on their head. And one by one, the butterflies disappeared. They watched as the last person lifted his hat and the very last butterfly flapped its wings and rose into the sky. Now, not only do we don't have any luck, we have lost all hope as well. Can you see that at all? The pictures are beautiful. So here's the green-haired lady she's beautiful too. At that very moment, the red-haired, green-eyed woman appeared once again. Her large brimmed purple felt hat collected the raindrops and kept her hair dry, thank goodness. She says it was curly hair and it gets a mess when it gets wet. She said, "Look under your hats." The people were puzzled. They had seen the butterflies vanish into the clouds. They were certain that there was nothing under their hats, nothing under their black berets and bonnets with bows. The butterflies were gone, and with them, their last hope. And as quickly as the rains came, they stopped, and the people lifted their hats and their fancy fur hats and silly straw ones with feathers. And they looked inside, and just as they thought, there were no butterflies. Look, they showed the mysterious woman. Nothing. There's nothing under our hats. Look again, she whispered, and then she disappeared. The people looked under their hats, under their felt fedoras and high hats with polka dots, and they could hardly believe it. The butterflies were gone, but they had left a trace of something. A fine, faint powder. They saw it, the trace of the vanished butterflies. That was all they needed, hope. The people of Chelm started building houses again and repairing their sidewalks and planting their gardens. Sometimes their roofs still leaked and their sidewalks still cracked, but not always. And their gardens grew weeds, but also flowers. The people of Chelm no longer looked for luck. They found something much better, and it was there all along, right under their hats. They found hope. And that's the end. Thank you for coming up. I appreciate the support. Now I have to get up. Okay, I made it. Thank you. All right. I'll get out of your way.
Each week, we share a portion of our Sunday offering with a social justice cause outside the walls of our church. This month, we are sharing our loose change collection with Humane Wildlife Indiana. I'm going to read this now. The series of storms that came through Porter County Monday caused significant tree damage to their property. They have several cages that need to be repaired, with one cage now being completely taken out of commission for the season. A number of trees that have fallen or are now leaning will need to be removed
Oh, sorry. That was me.
from the animal areas. And from against cages, they will need to assess the amount of damage that was done to their education center. Donations in the baskets will go to sustaining the mission of our church and congregation. Donations in the cup will go to the Humane Wildlife Indiana. For those of you that are not in person, we have a one-time link available online for one-time donations or regular donations. Would 4 volunteers please come forward to carry the baskets and cups? For your prayers, your presence and service, and your gifts, We are truly grateful.
And now, in the center of our service and in the center of our lives, let us pause to honor the silences of the world. Let us open our hearts to the place of quiet, to the silent prayer for the healing of pain and the soft, gentle coming of love. And to begin our time of quiet with a prayer by Gary Kowalski. In this quiet hour, may our spirits be renewed. In this gathering of friends, may we be ready to extend ourselves to those in need and with trust to receive the hand that is offered. In this community of ideals, may we remember the principles that guide us and reflect upon those things that give meaning to our lives, renewing our dedication to serve the highest that we know. In this time of worship, may our minds be open to new truth, our hearts be receptive to love as we give thanks for this life which we are blessed to share. Amen. And now let us pause for a moment of silence. I invite you now to come forward to light a candle of memory or hope, or to sit quietly as the music continues to hold us in a meditative space. They're probably damp. Good to see you. One candle for all of you at home joining us today. And another candle for all who are still out without power. It's hard. You guys still out with? It's hard. And now let us fill this sacred space with the names of loved ones we hold close in our hearts, some suffering in sorrow and some celebrating in joy. The breath of nature is upon us, the spirit of life is within us, and the community of love is around us. So be it. Amen.
Joys and sorrows are a time to share personal joys that you are celebrating so that we can celebrate with you as a community. It is a time to share personal sorrows that weigh on our hearts so that we can support one another in our times of sorrows. Keep in mind, this portion of the service excludes our online members, friends, and visitors. You sure? Barb is going to come around.
life, 123.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea. In the hand, giving life the shape of dust, whose Holy Ghost wings that free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
So I'm going to begin this sermon with a story from the Islamic tradition. A wise woman who was traveling in the mountains found a precious stone in the stream. The next day she met another traveler who was hungry, and the wise woman opened her bag to share her food. The hungry traveler saw the precious stone and asked the woman to give it to him. And so she did, without hesitation. And the traveler left rejoicing his good fortune. He knew the stone was worth enough to give him security for his entire life. A few days later, though, he came back to return the stone to the wise woman. "I've been thinking," he said. "I know how valuable the stone is, but I give it back in hope that you can give me something even more precious. Please give me what you have within you that enabled you to give away this precious stone." So gather the Spirit. What does Jim Scott mean, gather the Spirit? In the book Post-Traumatic Church Syndrome by Reba Riley, spirit can look like people with their arms raised to the heaven and tears in their eyes, falling on the ground, speaking in tongues, or rocking back and forth, dancing in the aisles, or lying prostrate before the altar. We don't see that much here, right? So what does spirit look like in a Unitarian Universalist church? Well, Jim Scott sees it as nurturing one another, doing social justice work together, worshiping this mystery of life, and all its aspects of hope and joy, and its challenges, sorrow, pain, and most of all, love. He mentions strength, but I think perhaps he means a strength that is of vulnerability more powerful than strength, a place where it's okay to be our imperfect selves. Or maybe he was referring to the strength of working together in community to care for one another and of being loving stewards of our church. So this faith community can exist in Northwest Indiana for generations to come. Offering to those generations that we haven't been born yet, compassion, love, sanctuary, and nurture to our children's children and their children. Unitarian Universalist congregations at their best create beloved communities of people of faith who gather to share these celebrations of mysteries of life and also share pain. We gather the Spirit and harvest the power, as Jim Scott says. So what is the power that we harvest? Well, last week, Cindy shared about the Interfaith Action Network and how faith traditions across Northwest Indiana have gathered to make a difference in the lives of others. We harvest the power in this space, a spirit of love and generosity and care, which has been nurtured in this church, in this space, for over 150 years. There's power in that. Think of the energy and the DNA that just is all about this place. And each week you share your bounty with nonprofits that are providing life-giving services to those in need. So there is a kind of magic that happens when we can feel safe enough to be together to share our experiences from the depth of our being. We gather in sacred space to nurture our spirits, to center our minds, and tend to our tender places in our souls. Dr. Oliver Wendell Holmes, a famous Unitarian, was asked why he attended worship services each week. And he said, I have a plant called reverence that needs watering every week. And that metaphor of a plant that needs watering had a double meaning for me because I have a reputation for neglecting my plants. A friend of mine said, Cathy, you don't water, you resuscitate. So this is what happens when I neglect my spirit. It's harder to be resuscitated when you do that. We get exhausted and burnt out and despairing. And wouldn't it be better if we prioritized nurturing our spirits instead of trying to clean up the mess we make by not? And this is why love is at the center of our values, our shared Unitarian Universalist values. Thornton Wilder writes in The Bridge of San Luis Rey, love is the only survival, the only meaning. So I'll tell you a couple stories. Years ago, I attended a love, loss, and forgiveness workshop in a small Buddhist monastery in the Barra Peninsula in Ireland, with a view overlooking the Atlantic Ocean that is beyond belief. My grief counselor recommended that I attend the workshop. I had lost my daughter 3 months after accepting my call to my first church in Ludington, Michigan. I was struggling. The workshops were led by the late Dr. Michael Murphy, a hospice physician from Albany, New York. He described the workshops as inspirational and experiential, encouraging participants to learn and practice the art of loving, as well as unfolding the trials and possibilities of grieving and even journeying toward forgiveness. He was working on a book called Secrets of Love, Loss, and Forgiveness as a hopeful response to all the terrors and the uncertainties of our age. And he believed that love and forgiveness can quiet our fears and provide real meaning to our lives. The workshops that he created were intended to bring together the notion that within each of us there is a trinity residing, the mortal, the soul, and the spirit. And when we can understand the dynamics that occur from love, loss, and forgiveness, he believed it will transform our lives. So I want to share a story that actually did give me a little transformation. We were asked before we came to bring a possession that contained meaning to us that we would have to give away. So it wasn't supposed to be something necessarily valuable, but it was to be something that it would be really hard to part with. It had to hurt a little bit. So, and then we would share the story with the person who got our gift. So it wasn't easy for me to decide which one to give away. The first year I took an ocarina. It's an ancient type of instrument, a vessel flute. It was made from clay. It was made by an artist, a person who was living in the streets of San Francisco. And he was finding refuge in Hospitality House, which had art supplies, and all the people could come in. And then they had art shows. It was really quite wonderful. And so I was so inspired by their ministry that I bought this piece of art and I cherished it. Well, the person that I gave it to was clearly, visibly disappointed. An ocarina. I felt really bad. So the second year, I just really worked hard to try and find something that would be more appreciated. And so when the time came to close our week together, we gathered with our beautifully wrapped gifts and were invited to play a game that involved moving around the room with our gifts until the music stopped, and then we exchanged gifts with the person in front of us. And then it would go on again until it would just keep going until finally everything stopped, and we had the gift that we were going to keep. So I chose the second year to give away a necklace that was made by an Alaskan artist when I lived in Alaska. And he gathers fossilized walrus tusks and makes jewelry out of them. And so this was a gift. It was a birthday present. It was a pendant, a silver pendant, and it had 2 polar bears touching noses. It was really beautiful. And it was expensive. So it turns out it was Michael who got my gift. And when I began to share the story about the necklace and the history, I suddenly remembered 2 stories from Alaska that I had forgotten, that had been buried deep beneath my grief. And both were profound experiences that I shared with my daughter, Leslie. Leslie loved coming in the summer away from the University of Georgia to work in the Miller's Daughter bakery that I owned. We were driving that day up the Seward Highway to go shopping in Anchorage. And we just crested the peak at Summit Lake Lodge, which is a little bit north of Moose Pass. And an enormous grizzly bear came walking across the road. Leslie was driving. It was a truck with a stick shift that I never learned how to drive. And so she reached over and tried to stop. She put on the brakes, she stopped, and she went, "Ah, Mommy." And we were just stunned. Well, we had been having a fight. She was a princess, and she was in a sorority, and she was pretty much breaking the bank, so to speak. And she wanted clothes and this. So anyway, we were fighting about money. And so this bear, a grizzly bear, a male grizzly, can weigh 1,300 pounds. And when they stand on their hind legs, they can reach 6.5 to 10 feet. The bear claws were what really got me. They were so long. They vary, but a journal from Lewis and Clark's expedition claims the expedition members killed at least 2 huge grizzlies whose claws measured 6 and 7 inches long. So anyway, after we were fighting, and suddenly we were just speechless. We sat in stunned silence as we watched this bear as he disappeared into the forest. It seemed like he took forever. And you could see his fur rippling as he walked, thick fur, and it was he was really close to us. It was he was moving clumsily, yet also with gracefully. We were scared he'd notice us. So we stopped fighting, of course, and we drove to Anchorage with a whole new sense of the world, really, and the rare gift we had shared. So that was a precious memory that had just slipped away. And the second bear story, there were 2 bears on that necklace. The following summer, Leslie was a beauty queen, which was not, we weren't all really proud of that, but she was. Miss Williamston, South Carolina. Her brothers called her Miss Possum Kingdom. Anyway, so she was charming everybody, all of these fishermen and people that were coming in, they had charter airplanes and things. So one of these guys a bush pilot offered us a tour of the Harding ice field in the Kenai Peninsula. It was where we were. This is the largest ice field entirely contained in the United States. So it spawned over 40 glaciers and covers 300 square miles in its entirety. If one to count glaciers which descend from the ice field measured over 1,100 square miles. And so Leslie invited me to share her good fortune. The flight was over 90 minutes. We saw Dall sheep and mountain goats and bear and bald eagles, moose, wolverines, and more. the breathtaking beauty and the glaciers just gave me a deep respect for the context in which we live, this little town of Seward with this huge ice field. It was crazy. Avalanches blocked the way sometimes to Anchorage for days at a time. But Alaskans, you better by God know your neighbor, when you live in Alaska. They help one another. So the plane was small and rickety, and it was like, literally, we were doing shaking. Leslie was completely unfazed, but I was quite nervous about it. So at one point in our flight, I noticed a bear who was walking towards nowhere. The pilot said, I don't know what he's doing. He's leaving where there would be any source of food. And I thought, maybe he's suicidal. I don't know what it was. And the pilot said he'd never seen anything like it in his entire career. I felt sad for the bear, and thought that to myself, I was a vegetarian. I had been a vegetarian for many years, and my thought was, well, if that rickety old plane crashes, at least the bear would have something to eat. Which was really interesting, don't you think, for a vegetarian? And so when I told Leslie about it later, she's like, Mom, if the plane crashed near the bear, I would say, oh, good, we have something to eat. So I tell you these stories because really the stories and the memories that came back to me in that moment were so much more valuable than that ivory necklace, which sat most of the time in a jewelry box on my dresser. So it helped me reframe with new meaning some of my experiences and store them in this sacred place in my heart. And I think it's really the wisdom of truly sharing, of giving. When we can't know the gift we receive from giving until we give it away, until we actually have the courage to give it away and give something that is hard to give. So I shared this story with my congregation, and we had been in Ludington. We had been the target of some vicious, ugly attacks by the Christians, believe it or not, in Ludington. Because I was invited to speak at the Tre Ora service, the Good Friday service. The Lutheran pastor happened to be a friend of mine. Everybody else didn't speak to me. But he invited me. And so suddenly there were letters to the editor all over the paper, and the Ministers Association withdrew their support for the service. And when I got up, it was my turn to preach. They walked out. My good friend, the pastor of that church, said to me before I went out, Cathy, if somebody shoots you, we'll pull your body behind the pulpit and rename the church St. Catherine's. And then he pushed me out there. Wicked sense of humor. So I told my congregation, some of them wanted to attack back. And I said, no, we receive what we give. And so we didn't. I said, we're being watched. We have their attention. This is good. And in a way, it was a gift. The congregation grew. And so we chose to show them who we are. And so as we gather in the spirit of love in this community and hope, we want everybody to know that ours is a religious home where they are truly welcome, that our faith is not exclusive but inclusive. And we proudly wear the label of heretic. And we grew out of the Puritan tradition, and most of the significant influence on our theology was born out of the rejection of Calvinism and the doctrine of the Trinity. So the hateful letters were a reaction to our Unitarian theology. So Unitarians received their name, actually, during a controversy in the early 1800s. There was like a pamphlet war, and it was a time when ministers did a lot of pulpit swapping. And the liberal ministers who were growing more and more liberal were no longer invited to preach in some of the pulpits, and vice versa. So what they said was, "You're nothing but a Unitarian." And it stuck. And that's who we are, proud to be Unitarians. And at the same time, the Universalists preach a doctrine of universal salvation in Europe, North America, believing that God would never condemn any of his children to hell. We were called the no-hellers. Yeah, right on. Elizabeth Strong once wrote, "We have responded to an angry God with a loving God. We have asserted that God is one, and we have affirmed Jesus as a teacher and a prophet of God. We affirm the worthiness of humankind, of truths unknown and to be known, that all religions have some truth, but no one religion has all the truth. We have moved with the evolving culture and increased knowledge with reason, faith, hope, and tolerance, and love and freedom." And so today we understand that we must seek to move beyond tolerance toward understanding. So I want to just thank you. Tom Olenthal, Reverend Tom Olenthal, I think he's no longer with us. He wrote a really beautiful book, and he quoted Tandeka, who was, I don't know if she's still at the Meadville Lombard Seminary. She says, "We are the promised land every time we create a graceful moment of life with self, others, and the world. The realm of God is here and now." You are the promised land when you support organizations and support this church to create that realm of God here and now. When you work to dismantle systems of racism and oppression, when you put your Side with Love shirts on and go fight for reproductive rights, immigrant rights, economic justice, voting rights. And when you volunteer to serve this church, you are the promised land. And so you're also the promised land when you show up here every Sunday. Because when we get together, nourish our spirits so we don't have to be resuscitated. So gather the Spirit, harvest the power. Our separate flames will kindle one flame, the chorus of life. You are the yeast that leavens the dough. And dough will be flat as a flitter without yeast. So we need each and every one of you. Each and every one of you has a role to play in this church, even if it's just showing up on Sunday morning. May we live our UU values so completely that people will come to us and say, "I want to know more about your faith. I want to believe in the transformative power of love, as in the wise woman's story, and I want you to give me what you have within you that enables you to give what is so precious to you." May it be so. Amen. And blessed be. And may we sing Blue Boat Home. Yay.
You guys might get here for Blue Boat Home,
1064. Love me, I feel no more.
I invite you now to join me in reciting the words on the screen or in your order of service, accompanying the extinguishing of the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fires of commitment.
These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Closing words are by the Reverend John C. Morgan. In the end, it won't matter how much we have, but how generously we have given. It won't matter how much we know, but rather how well we lived. And it won't matter how much we believe, but how deeply we love. Go in peace and blessed be.
One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. Hear the children cry. One love, one heart. Thanks and praise to the Lord, and I'll feel alright. Saying, let's get together and feel alright. Let them all pass their dirty remarks. There's one question I'd love to ask. Is there a place for the hopeless sinner who's hurt all mankind is to save his own beliefs? One love, what about one heart? What about let's get together and feel alright? As it was in the beginning, so it shall be in the end. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel alright. I'm pleading to mankind. One love, one heart. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. Give thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright.
Quite a spread for our pioneer potluck, so please come feast.